Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to another episode of Corpse Garden Chronicles. Today, we are going to read Lyra's Visitation. But first, I wanted to say hello, everyone. I hope your new year is going well. And for those who aren't, I hope you find a safe place or a happy place to help you get your new year started. And our hearts go out to everybody in California, and our prayers, and everybody dealing with the snow and weather. I hope you guys are in a safe place. And I just wanted to start off the show talking about one of the harder things in life. Wording. Because sometimes things happen and you have to figure out how to explain to a very small human. And when you have to use video game wording to explain why the cat is gone and they can't come back because they keep asking what happened to their cat. I'm not saying that this is a like the best way, but it turned out to be the best way for us. Because on Christmas Day, we found out our cat was sick and there was no way that we could help him. Even if we had the money to get him the surgery he needed, there was a very small chance that he would make it through. So we had him put down. Our oldest, she took it pretty bad. Our middle child was just relieved, just straight relief on her face. The cat was not suffering anymore, and she could deal with that. But Dante, he kept looking. He's like, "Where is he?" And sometimes we use all the time we use these terms like passed away, no longer with us. And this is hard for some people who don't like speak English well. and especially for like tiny people. So I ended up using a video game and showing him how like this character died and it would not come back. And they're gone, so they can't continue on in the story with that character and that character's storyline. Because his sisters had been trying to teach him things that way, it turned out to be the way I needed to teach him, hey, this is what happened to our cat, and this is, unfortunately, we have to go on without him. And this is his snuggle buddy, because he'll come running, jump in the bed in the middle of the night every so often because he's had a bad dream or he's really cold or whatever. And sometimes mommy and daddy are the only ones that can just make him feel better. And then the cat would snuggle up to his feet to help add warmth because the kitty's baby too. He had been there for Dante's entire life. So now we are greeting the new year without a friend and without a fur buddy. And I can honestly say this is not the way I wanted to end 2024 and start 2025. But I do hope both have found peace where they are. And for any of those who have had to deal with this year, remember there's always a place to go to talk and help you with the grieving process, or talk out your feelings, or tell about the stories that happened, whether they be silly, they drove you batty, or just straight angry, and then later you found something in it to help you move forward. Please remember, find a friend, find a counselor, find a therapist, find somebody, because I have been to way too many funerals and have had to bury way too many pets. I mean, I remember right after my mom died, our dog was like, "Nope, I'm not doing this without her." And he passed away within the week because he couldn't find her, and he just got depressed and gave up. So that is always hard when you have to bury a loved one and you have to figure out how to move forward. That is always hard. But let's go into the new year knowing we may be without them, but we are not alone, and we can always find a friend. And welcome to 2025 with the Owl Light Network, and we hope we have a good year with you. Without further ado, I am going to change it to the reading screen, and we are going to enjoy when she had done this book. Her name on everything was Lily M. Snow. But now, as you can see from my little tagline below, she is going by CM Snow now, by whatever reasons she has decided. I'm just grateful she has written stories. I'm grateful I get to randomly message her and talk to her. And I'm grateful that she has given me permission when we first started doing this show, Corpse Garden Chronicles. Hi, Steven! That we could read her stuff. And today, because I am always in love with Nightmare Whispers, that whole entire trilogy of anthologies, we are going to read her book. Not her book, but her story. Lyra's Visitation. Let me grab a drink real quick, and then we shall get to it. Lyra's Visitation by Lillian Snow. 3 weeks ago. Lieutenant Lorthius Dongaze. I am going to butcher names. Please forgive me. Of the Hoosehat Park Police Department sighed as he walked up the stairs to Triana Strickland's apartment. Triana? Trina? He hated doing these notifications. He knocked gently on the door. Triana Strickland? It's Lieutenant Don Gaze from HPPD. I need to speak with you. He hears some movement and then the locks being undone. 1 second, please. I apologize. I'll start over so it can be set up continuous. 3 weeks ago, Lieutenant Lorthius Donguys of the Hoosehat Park Police Department sighed as he walked up the stairs to Triana Strickland's apartment. He hated doing these notifications. He knocked gently on the door. Triana Strickland? Strickland? It's Lieutenant Don Gates from the HPPD. I need to speak with you. He hears some movement and then the locks being undone. Listening to the amount of clicks and sliding, he wondered why the manager of the best rave club in town had to have so many locks. He stepped back as he heard the knob turning. The door opened just the length of the chain she left on the door. Her deep mahogany eyes peered over the chain. Can I help you, Lieutenant? I have something to discuss with you about a friend of yours. May I come in? Sure. She closed the door, unhooked the chain, and then reopened the door. Come in. He followed her and sat down in the chair she motioned towards. She sat on the couch opposite him. So, who's in trouble? Lieutenant Don Gaze sighed softly and pulled a small clear bag out of an envelope. No one is in trouble, Miss Strickland. He hands her the bag. I believe you know who this belongs to? Triana leans forward and takes the bag, then reaches into it, pulling a necklace with a gold sun dangling from it. The small amber stone in the middle sparkled in the sunlight that came through Triana's window. She gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. This is Lyra's. Where did you get this? She looked up at Lorthis to find him looking at her sorrowfully. We found it wedged between two of the floorboards of her apartment. A neighbor said there was a lot of commotion a couple of nights ago, and then Kylantha said Lyra had missed an appointment. Lyra never misses appointments, so he cleared his throat. We have been investigating. I knew this was hers, but I wanted to have someone outside the HPPD to verify it. I'm so sorry. Trina falls back on the couch in shock. She stares at the necklace draped over her hand, hot tears rolling down her face. She turns it over, hoping she was wrong. But there at the top are the initials LS. In the middle was the engraving, to my sunshine, love mother. I don't understand. Who would hurt Lyra? She sits up straight. Oh my God, did Gina know? Lorthis shakes his head. No, I wanted to talk to you first. I thought maybe you could help me break it to her. She is not going to take this well. She and Lyra have been like sisters since they were elflings. Trina wipes her face, but the tears kept coming. She and Lyra had been friends since. Yeah, I can do that. Let let me get dressed. All right, I will meet you down at the car. Lor- Lorthius and Trina drove up to the North Tressum, the community of the Tusarene, to find them closed and four guards standing in front of them. The ornately designed silver and gold gates that were normally wide open to show all were welcome in the beautiful neighborhood that housed the high elves of New Seattle. One of the guards walked up to the guard dressed in a midnight blue suit with intricate scrolling designs and a gun at her hip. What's going on? Why are the gates closed? We need to get in. Triana questions the guard. Lorithis holds his hand up and gently pushes Triana back. Lieutenant Dongaze, what brings you back here, and why is this plague with you? Trina lets out a soft growl. Lorthius shakes his head at her turns to the guards. You will watch your tongue, Sergeant Karras, or I will have you sent to the frozen north. His tone quiet but threatening. We are here to speak with Gina Woodward. Let us in now. The guard walks over and talks to the other three. She stays near the gate, but motions for them to go ahead. She waves her hand, and the gate glows bright gold for a moment as it opens just enough for Lorthius to squeeze his car through. Trina shakes her head as she feels this is a bit excessive for one person. However, it took forever to get the elves to even be as open as they have been. So she really isn't surprised that they instantly reacted this way. They pull up to the apartment complex that Gina lives in. It sits on about 5 acres and has a couple of natural ponds, a waterfall, a small forest, and a 3-story building that houses the apartments. It's made out of stone and was built around a couple of trees. Gina! Trina comes flying through the front door of Gina's apartment with Lorthius bringing up the rail. Rear. She skids to a stop as she sees her girlfriend Gina Woodward sitting at the kitchen table, the newspaper's front page turning into a sopping mess as Gina's tears fall like Niagara Falls. Triana runs over to her, wrapping her arms around her tightly. "Oh, honey, we are hoping to get to you before you'd seen this. I am so sorry. Lyra was such an amazing elf." What? What could have happened to her? She was so careful. She turns so her face is buried in Triana's chest, sobbing loudly. "I know, sweetheart." Trina hugs Gina tight. "We will find her, Gina. I am so sorry you found out this way. I will be finding out who leaked this and have them hanged." Orpheus' quiet voice came from behind them. Gina looked up at him. "Lore, who? Who could have done this?" "I don't know, Gina, but we will find out. I promise." He walked over and cupped her chin. "I promise. Kyla." Calanthea said she called the police when Lyra didn't know show up for an apartment and didn't show up for an appointment and didn't answer her phone for 2 days. Lyra never ignores her phone and never misses an appointment. Even when the jerkface Faye Laren broke up with her, she still made all of her appointments. "I know, hun." Shh. Trina does her best to calm Gina down. They've been best friends and more for the past 6 years. and she'd never seen Gina this upset. She understood, though. Is there going to be a meeting or anything that you need to go to? You can have all the time you need off. I'll get Cade to come in. No. Gina looks up at Trina, her makeup in streaks down her face, her usually bright, happy eyes bloodshot with sorrow. I will not take time off for anything other than her. Her. Gina stumbles on words, but Trina knew she was trying to say passing into the astral gardens. Elves don't die. They just moved on to the spirit world. But with as young as Lyra was, this was catastrophic for the community. All right, whatever you say. But you're not going to work. You're not going to overwork yourself either. Trina steps back and lets go of Gina to put her hands on her hips and try to give her a stern look. This, of course, as it always does, made Gina laugh low. Even Lorthius chuckled. Why do you keep trying to look mean when we all know that doesn't work on any of us? Trina gives Gina a little grin and points at her because it makes you smile. And right now, I will be doing my best to try and help. Gina nods and gives Trina a little smile and stands up, gives Trina a hug. Thank you. I can always count on you. As she puts her head on Trina's shoulder, she sees herself in the toaster that is sitting on the counter. Oh my God, why did you not tell me how horrid I look? Gina screams and goes running into the bathroom, followed by Trina, who just laughs and shakes her head. Even in the morning, Gina couldn't bear to have her face a mess. She throws up her hands in the air. Elves! The visit. Trina stands on the balcony after closing. The air from the bay blows over her hair, cooling her skin. After hours of watching hundreds of sweaty bodies moving and gyrating to the music that DJ Phoenix pumped out through her turntables, the waves lap against the wall that keep Elliott Bay from encroaching on the huge parking lot that was filled to capacity over an hour before. Triana runs a hand through her long dark hair and sighs loudly. She is so exhausted after 20 years of living a life of crime. All she wants is to have a normal life, own a club, and be happy with someone she loves that loves her back for who she is. But that wasn't to be right now. Thanks to her boss, Celerina, she has interviews with the girls that are currently in the loft above her office here in the building tomorrow. Just that just that thought gave her the beginning of a migraine. She inhales deeply, letting the crisp air fill her lungs so she can calm herself. After a few moments, she heads back into the club, closing the double doors behind her. She makes her way across the dance floor, making a note to call the professional cleaners to take care of the floor when the blast of cold air hits her out of the blue. She looks behind her, thinking maybe she didn't close the doors at all, then looks around and above her when she sees they are completely closed. As she looks around, trying to find the source of the chill, she sees the air shimmer slightly in front of her. Soft cloud of varying colors start to shift and form into a young female figure floating in front of her. Trina startles and takes a step backward until the spirit holds up a hand as though asking her to wait. Trina pauses and steps forward, staring at the figure in front of her. As she gets closer to the spirit, she raises an eyebrow. Why do you look familiar? She whispers as she walks around the ghost who floats silently in front of her. As Trina comes back around to the front, she looks at the woman's face a bit closer and her eyes widen. Lyra, no, it can't be. She peers closer and notes that the svelte elven ears under the spirit's pale blonde hair. As she's inspecting her, she starts noticing the spirit is becoming more solid, and bruises, cuts, and dried blood are appearing all over her once alabaster skin. The elf nods at Trina recognition and softly speaks. It is I, Trina. I have come to warn you. The spirit swallows, her voice raspy. You must know what happened to me to tell the others. She looked up at Trina, and Trina notices the elven woman's eyes are swollen shut, and the entirety of her face is covered in bruises and bloods. I will visit your dreams too hard here. Her voice trails off and Lyra disappears, when nothing but a soft scent of sunflowers left behind. That night, as she tosses and turns on the couch in her office, she dreams she is standing in the middle of the dance floor. There is a light bulb hanging down from the rafters, and there is a medical table under the light bulb covered in blood. This is where they did it, Triana. This is where they took my life. The spirit of Lyra Sun Fury appears out of the darkness, floating about a foot above the floor. Who? Who did this to you, Lyra? I am going to show you as I tell you. I am sure you wouldn't be surprised. Watch the scenes as they unfold in front of you. A soft mist blows through the table and it disappears to be replaced with Lyra's living room. It's just getting dark, so soft light shines in through Lyra's pale curtains and casts shadows of her various plants across her wooden floor. Out of the corner of her eye, Triana sees something move and then focuses on the front door as she hears Lyra's key hit the lock. Triana's heart starts beating quickly and she reacts as if she's watching a horror movie at home. No, Lyra, don't come in. Something's not right. Someone's in here. But, of course, Lyra in the mist cannot hear her. She comes in and places her briefcase on the floor and hangs her coat on the hook, standing just inside the door. As her coat grabs the hook, she hears the chair scrape behind her. Grabbing the mace out of her coat pocket, she turns and sprays the mace at whatever or whoever has invaded her home. Put that away, Miss Sunfury. The human crud doesn't harm us. Lyra stares at the creatures in front of her. Two Storians stand in front of her. Their gray and black fur coats shimmer, and what little light is left filters through the window. They are both taller than her by at least a foot, and their tails swish across the floor as they come closer to her. Don't come any closer. I don't have things that can hurt you nearby. What do you want? And why are you in my house? She backs up and reaches behind her, fumbling for the pocket on her heavier coat. As the rats get closer, she clutches something in the pocket, swings her arm in an arc, hitting a button, and the baton extends out about 3 feet in front of her. The rats just laughed. You're not even close to being able to take us down, Lyra Sun Fury. So how about you just listen and try and make this easy, huh? The black rat, who was a bit beefier and slightly taller than the other one, cracks his fingers in front of him. Lady Roveri sent us. She says it's time for you to make a decision. Either you tell us you're gonna do what she wants you to do at court in a couple of days, or we bring you to her and she shows you the consequences of standing against her. Roveri can kiss my elven ass. I will not lie or perjure myself for her or any of you. I am not going to jail for her. I've told you. I've told her this many times. Now just leave me be. Tell your boss she can find someone else to be her lackey. The two rats look at each other and shrug, cornering Lyra between them and the coat rack. This slightly taller gray one moves so quick. She doesn't even see him get behind her. He grabs her roughly, bending her hand so hard that she drops the baton and her wrist snaps. She snaps. She yells out as the bigger one looms over her. Well, now, she said you were probably going to respond this ways. So, you can come with us quietly, or we make you come with us. She looks up at the bigger rat, tears running down her face, and spits on him. Fuck you, filthy ratkin. Must do what you must, because I am not coming quietly. She struggles against the smaller rat, stomping back onto his paw, then kicking the other one. The bigger rat grabs her by the throat, his long claws digging into her small neck, ignoring her feeble attempts to get away from them. Too bad. I always thought you were kind of pretty. He rears back and punches her so hard he knocks her unconscious. The mist clears and Lyra looks at Triana, who has collapsed on the floor, a horrified look on her face, tears rolling down. Wah! Triana coughs and wipes her tears, whispering, what happened after that? More mist appears, and then it's exactly where they were standing on the dance floor. Triana watches as Ratkin carry her very unconscious Lyra with a blindfold over her eyes into the room, sitting her down none too gently on her feet, and Lyra continues. I couldn't see where they had taken me, but I could smell the lingering scent of sweat and liquor, and the floor was hard and sticky beneath my feet. I figured we must be at the club Vortex, as my captors worked for the owner. Our footsteps echoed as we walked and heard the scraping of a chair just before I was thrown into it. My arms were yanked from behind me. My arms were yanked behind me, tied roughly with ropes, and the blindfold was yanked from my head, snapping my neck forward, wrenching it harshly. Raveri stood in front of me, anger rolling off her dark red skin like waves of heat on a summer day. You will fix our papers. You will lie to the judge tomorrow, or you will not see the outside of this building ever again. I blink a couple of times trying to focus. I shake my head slightly and I realize that my hair on the left side is stuck to my head, and I shake my head again. My head pounds as I realize I can only see through my right eye and that I cannot open my left eye. I close my right eye, take a couple of deep breaths as I remember the men breaking into my house and beating me unconscious. I open my right eye partially and look at Roveri. You. I cough slightly, my throat dry, and hoarsely whisper, you already know my answer, demon. Lying goes against my principles, and no one, not even you and your thugs, are going to change that. Roveri shakes her head and shifts into her full circus form. Then she steps aside so I can see what is behind her, a long metal table with thick straps set under a glaring light bulb that swings from the rafters. and a cart set next to it with various sharp implements on it. She orders her men to put me on the table, strap me down, and blindfold me. All I remember is pain shooting through my body as something sliced through my chest, then the blackness swallowing me. The spirit form flickers and looks at Triana still on the floor. That is what happened. You must do something. Lyra's voice stutters as her form flickers more. I cannot stay. Take this to someone you trust. And she's gone. Triana stares at the spot where Lyra was murdered. She crawls over and starts slamming her fists on the floorboards until her hands are bleeding. She curls in a ball, lets out a scream of anguish, and she starts sobbing uncontrollably until there is nothing left. She then gets up and takes one of the folded chairs and put on the murder spot. She would go to Lorthius in the morning about this. And that is the end of the story. Good evening, Bahana Jade Longwalker. I am going to head and going to do the ad break, and then I will come back and say a few more words.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Octopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I love all of the people in that ad. I am in that ad even with my book. And I also want to say, come back up. Hi, Tom Dog. It's just me tonight. That story is one of my most favorite ghost stories. And I love how it played out. That is one of the most beautiful tellings of how she died in a story. I just hope you guys can see why I will be a fan of CM Snow until I die. Please definitely check her out and her other stories because she is under um she is why are words not working? She goes under Lilium Snow and CM Snow as her author names at the moment. And I shall um please don't be afraid of learning about death because it's better to know what you want when you die and talk to your family about what they want before they pass. Always continue reading scary stories because just like the earlier podcast, always watch horror movies and always read scary stories here because that will be some of our favorites forever. Both mine and Melanie D and Pyle and any and Raz and any other my co-hosts. We have all agreed to that. I hope you all have an amazing night. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed that story as much as I did. Please excuse the fact that I tripped over so many words. Thank you for being here. Please keep trying. Bye.